Minnesota, I mean, we got Prince, you got Bob Dylan,
Yeah.
you got Judy Garland, you got there's a long list.
So when did you discover those people? Was it early on when you picked up the guitar? Did those people influence you? Definitely Prince and Bob Dylan are your biggest names out of there. Did they have that impact on you early on?
Yeah, early on I, I grew up. I didn't pick up the guitar until I was about 11 years old. But I grew up. My dad would we'd drive around in his pickup truck, and he had a tape cassette player, and he had this oldies tape of like all these. It had Johnny Cash, it had Tennessee Ernie Ford, it had I think Patsy Cline was on there. So kind of that early country stuff was what I kind of grew up listening to, and a lot of John Prine. A lot of Van Morrison. We'd put the tape set in, flip it, and then flip it back, and it would just stay in there. When I started playing the guitar, it was all Johnny Cash. I just wanted to get that like train beat sound, the boom chicka boom thing that Johnny Cash does. So it was all Johnny Cash. And then after Johnny Cash, maybe I was like 12, I got my hands on a Bob Dylan Essential Hits CD, and that opened my whole world to Bob Dylan because I heard these songs and I was like, Knocking on Heaven's Door, that's a Bob Dylan song? I didn't know that. All along the Watchtower, Like a Rolling Stone, I didn't know. And then I think it was my mom told me, he's from Minnesota, right? And I'm like, my my mind was just eternally blown. And Prince, I never really listened to a lot of Prince. I mean, I know, Purple Rain and stuff. I respect the music. I just haven't listened to a lot of it. But when I recorded my first like full length album when I was 14, the fellow who engineered it and recorded it was Matt Dr. Fink, and he played with Prince. He played in Prince and the Revolution, and he was always in the back on the keyboard with like the stethoscope and the full doctor suit and stuff. So that was a cool Prince connection. Everybody in Minnesota's got like some way they know Prince and their link. That's my like 14th degree connection, as I happen to but that's it. I don't never knew Prince.
Yeah, and that's radically different. It's amazing that with Minnesota, you have Prince on one side and Bob Dylan on the other. That's a huge gamut, and there's so much in between. So I would see how you would gravitate much more by picking up the acoustic and getting into Bob Dylan. So
Yeah, I think something that I don't know if I learned it from both of them, but something that I admire about the two is I think both of their music styles, it's music that just is. It's really hard. I think it's hard to put Bob Dylan in one genre, and I think it's equally hard to put Prince in one genre. I think they just make music that it's just music, and I think that's a really cool thing about both of them.
what was the first Bob Dylan? Was it "Blowin' in the Wind"? What was the first tune that you just stumbled on and said, "Wow, this is like I'm going in this direction"?
Uh, I think the first one I like learned in its entirety. I don't know why I started with it, but "Hard Rain's Gonna Fall," and I'd play it at open mics and stuff, and I'd play all however many verses there are. And Yeah, I think that was one of the first ones. There's a video. There's all these videos of me when I was like 11 or 12 years old. They're still floating around on YouTube. Uh, there's me playing like "Up on Cripple Creek" by the band. I was wearing like a tank top shirt with those winter hats with the flaps on them, and I was like, it got 30. I don't know how it got up to like 30,000 views when I was 12, but it did. And so there's videos of me doing the "Up on Cripple Creek" by the band. There's a video of "Blown in the Wind" by Bob Dylan and all that early stuff. So "Blown in the Wind" was in there.
Yeah, it resonates no matter what age you're at. How did you pick up the guitar? What was your first inkling to get into this?
I I was started, 10 or 11 years old. It just started to bug me that I could listen to songs but couldn't play it myself. I don't know why. And so I just kind of started figuring out how to play. My grandpa happened to pass away right around that time, and he had this old beat up guitar that where the strings were about this high off of the fretboard. So you had to you really got calluses when you played that thing. But I asked my grandma, hey, would you mind if I kind of took grandpa's old guitar and played it a little bit? And she said, yeah, go for it. So I learned on that, and just started playing the Johnny Cash songs, and I moved on to other stuff and finally writing my own songs.
So you went through school. How was it getting? Did you do a lot of like talent shows through school, and then did you keep that totally separate from school?
Yeah, I didn't even start in school. I started at the bars. Like I was, yeah, it was a spring break, and I think I was like sixth grade, and my dad says I was moping around the house. I don't know if that's true, but maybe I just looked a little bored. And he said, why don't you get your guitar? We'll go to Famous Dave's, the barbecue. It's a barbecue place. I don't know if they got them where you are, but it's they do like barbecue, and it's a full service bar. Anyways, they had a blues jam every Sunday night here in Minneapolis, and I think they are still doing it, sans COVID stuff. But went there, got up with the band, and I played The Wait by like the band, and the other song, I forgot what it was. And then we met someone there named Lady J. Jackie Maddox is her name, and she ran a blues jam the next day at another bar called Shaw's Bar in town. It was another blues jam, and I went there, and and kept going to these bars. My dad would take me every Sunday, Monday, and then we found another one that was like on a Tuesday. As long as my homework was all done, and my grades were up, I did pretty well in school because, well, I was forced to, and I wanted to. But anyways, kept playing at these bars. I'd play some songs with the band, or they'd let me get up during break, and I was a little 12-year-old kid at the bars, and which was good. I think I got to see adult musicians and kind of how they act, how they handle themselves, what they do, and it was a really good learning experience.
Oh yeah, it definitely had to be a great learning experience. And then getting used to it, how did it feel getting up in front of crowds for the first time? Did you have jitters, or were you just a total natural getting right into it?
Yeah, I didn't have any jitters. I would just I really looked forward to it, and it felt natural, and I'm thankful that it is natural, that it feels natural, because God, that'd be a painful profession to get into if you hated it, right?
Exactly. Making money at it is the biggest challenge at something you love. So, but if the passion's there, it will fall into place in some way, shape, or form. So,
Sure.
did you perform like that all the way through, middle school, high school, and beyond that?
Yeah, kind of. I'd keep going to the open jams and open mics and stuff. But when I was 13, I wrote this song called "Song to Bob." It was about it was an experience where Bob Dylan came and played in Minnesota, November 8th, 2008. It was actually President Obama's election day, and we came up with this cardboard sign that said 12-year-old singer-songwriter wants to play with you tonight, give me a chance. And we held it up by his tour bus, and a couple of his band members kind of looked and gave thumbs up, and Dylan kind of sort of looked to the side and then just went up and did his concert, and I didn't get to play, unfortunately. But there was a story that came out of it, Song to Bob. If you look it up on YouTube, it's all there. But I went up to Zimmy's Bar, named after Robert Zimmerman, Bob Dylan's original name, in his hometown of Hibbing, and they had a yearly Dylan Days singer-songwriter contest where you sang a song you wrote and then a Bob Dylan song. I won that contest, and from there I got to open for a thing called Hippie Fest, where the lead singers of the Turtles, Three Dog Night, a guitarist, Joey Mullen from Badfinger, Denny Lane from the Paul McCartney's Wings. They all played at the show, and I got to open at the State Theater here in town. And then I got to open for Nitty Gritty Dirt Band and Ozark Mountain Daredevils at one point too. And a couple others. Phil Solemn from the Rembrandts. That was pretty cool. And so I kept playing at all these open jams, but then I had the opportunity to play kind of opening for some of these cool shows. And, we'd book a couple of my own shows too around town there's a thing called the Lake Harriet Band Show, which is this band stage thing on the lake, and other bars. And so, yeah, doing school, doing college, also doing things like that. And so kind of kept combination of all the things going.
Where did you go to college?
I went to a place called McAllister College. It's in St. Paul, Minnesota. I like Minnesota a lot. I grew up and I happened to go to school here. I went there, and I was an economics major and a Chinese minor.
Wow, what a great fallback! You can tell.
I like economics. It's I love spreadsheets, and I use spreadsheets for music stuff too. I got a book. If we're booking gigs, you got to have a way to keep track of it and all that stuff. And it's fun. I don't know, if you, like you said, if you got a passion for things, you kind of find a way to make them coincide and work together for the most part.
It takes time to find that kind of a niche and to find that hook. And it's so hard in the music world. When did you start getting into recording professionally?
Sure. Well, I recorded the first full-length album when I was about 14, and that was with Dr. Fink at his studio, and then recorded another one when I was 18, and then a EP, at 20 something, 21, 22. And now working on these singles and, working on a full length album for the summer. So 14, that's when we recorded. I'll say first time, I don't know professionally, but well, sure. First time at a nice studio. How about that?
Right.
Yeah.
What was it like hearing that back though? You're professionally recorded at that moment. How did that feel when you first started hearing your stuff back?
It felt nice. It felt good. Because I'd record myself at home using my, crappy microphone on an old MacBook or something. And, but yeah, when you hear it through the really nice microphone, where like that microphone costs more than like, my guitar or something, it's like, okay, well, yeah.
What kind of guitars did you what was your first guitar? And then what have you gotten like subsequently after that, and the sound and the brands that you like?
Sure. That first guitar, the grandpa's guitar, I don't know what kind of guitar it was. I'd have to go to grandma's and check it out. The next one after that was like a Fender acoustic. And then my dad, he got me a great gift. He got me this Gibson Hummingbird Pro, which the strings are the perfect distance off the fretboard. It's got a tuner built in with an equalizer. It's got all that stuff. And I've been playing this, for like 10 years now. I've been playing electric a little bit more. I've got an Epiphone Les Paul. I like Gibson. I like Gibsons a lot. Martin and Taylor, they also have great guitars. I think Taylor's on the more, they kind of got more high-end sound or more bright sound. I think Martin is a little more bassy, and I think Gibson is kind of right in the middle, and I think it kind of just fits better with my voice. But I like to get a Martin at some point just for fun.
Sure. Yeah. It seems to become an addiction. You just start building the collection, and you've made it probably at that point, I would think. But
yeah, I'm kind of scared. It's like, if I get one, am I gonna like start getting more and more? I don't know. Start hoarding guitars.
So how many, I mean, they always say, or they, it's, I think it was the Gladwells who wrote this book about how many hours it takes to really perfect yourself in order to
Right.
really master your craft. How much were you practicing growing up? Did you feel, were you on it every day, just once in a blue moon? How did you like perfect your craft as you were getting older?
Yeah, I think when I first started playing, I just was addicted to it, and it was all I would do. So I think because of that, I because of just spending so much time doing it, I think I learned pretty quickly and kind of caught on to things, uh, and so because I think I was able to also get kind of strumming patterns down just because I was listening to so much music at the same time. Like I wouldn't just listen to one album and then be done. I just listen to that album like 1,000 times over and over again. I do the same thing with TV shows now. Like I'll watch a show and then just start over and watch it again, even though I just watched it. But I think doing that, you kind of learn you learn patterns well. And so yeah, I was just obsessed with it and just kept doing it all the time.
Oh yeah, you have to. So you got every Dylan record there is, or just some?
I mean, I had like a couple CDs, and then if I wanted to listen to something else, I don't know, go to the library, get the CD or something. I don't have like a collection unless you call my like Spotify collection, but I guess everybody's got that collection now. I do kind of have a romantic desire to have like a shelf full of like everything in vinyl or something like that, but uh maybe maybe a while down the road, we'll see.
It's quite bulky, and then it's hard to move with all of that. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice to have a good library and a really good a sound system, where you could really play analog recordings and they sound like, yeah, it's expensive though. That's for sure.
Right, right. Yeah.
So getting into the songwriting bits, so how did that take off? Is because you were quite young, just starting to write your own songs.
Yeah, I started, I think like uh I remember right after I first started learning my first couple chords, I wanted to immediately start writing my own songs. Um and I mean, I'd like to say there was some process, A to B to C, but I think it just kind of happened, and I just started kind of writing songs. And I think, over the years since I started, I think I've gotten better at knowing how many verses are too much, how many verses are too little, maybe kind of learning more where to break a song up, where to put in a bridge or a chorus. Not that I've perfected it by any means. There's, I think I've just still got way, way, way more to grow and way more to learn. But um, it's, uh, it's nice to know you've learned a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's something you just got to keep doing and doing. And I think that's really difficult to do lyrics and music. Yeah, and some of your artists, don't even want to deal with lyrics, but they can come up with the melodies. And
Mhm.
so to do 100% of that, I think probably got to be incredibly challenging.
Yeah, I think it can be it can be tough. But I don't know. I think if I get some kind of melody or hook in my mind, I it kind of goes it goes smoothly building off of that. I think where it gets tough is just when you got like a long period of time where just nothing comes to you, and you're like, man, am I even a musician anymore? And you get kind of a little bit sad. But then you get an idea again, and then you start working on it, and then another idea comes. So there's been songwriters that have, I think authors too. I feel like this analogy has been like used to death, but it's kind of like fishing, like some days you're going to catch a bunch in a row, and then some days you're just going to go out for a couple months and you're not going to get anything. And I guess the point is we just keep trying, you know.
Yeah, it really is. There's no exact science to that. So yeah, sometimes just the best stuff just comes at you and you just gotta quickly write it down and get it going. And other things, yeah, if you overthink it, then you're gonna start a writer's block. So that's gotta be really tough. So where do you get some of your ideas? Just from your environment there, or from whatever you're reading or seeing on TV or listening to other music?
Um, it's hard to pinpoint, but I think all of our minds are just like a bucket, and I think there's just stuff floating around in the ether, like you said, from like TV or something here, or maybe just some idea that's been floating around in your head is like a bucket that finally catches it at some point, and I think um, it all kind of mixes together. I think once in a while I'll hear like a word, like a certain word I like, and I'll kind of just bookmark it in my mind and then use it at some point. So that happens once in a while.
Yeah, I would think it does, and also with the melodies. I mean, you could hear something and you kind of have earworm, and you just work off of that. And you do. I mean, I think a lot of stuff is derived off of what has already existed before. I definitely you can even go back to the Beatles and way before all that, how they all derived off of one another. So yeah, but I do think that Dylan was definitely an original in his own right, and so many had derived off of him.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think everybody's like a combination of original and also derivative. Um, yeah, because everybody's just we're all just building this collective, castle together, and everybody adds a brick and somebody else adds another brick and somebody puts it in a unique way based on the way this person did it. Um, and it all comes together, but yeah, nobody can claim to be 100% original. Everybody's taking something from somebody else or borrowing, we'll say.
Yeah, the old blues guys, and I've talked with some of those kind of people too, and it's like,
Mm,
yeah, they were the basis for like a lot of what we hear today. The Rolling Stones derived
mm.
off a lot of those old blues guys, and Beatles go back to Chuck Berry and people like that. So it's like, so nobody's 100%, and so yeah, I'm sure I could see in the music world there could be some kind of bitterness too with that, the people who originally came up with some stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's too bad when, especially in those early days, there's some artists that get like so much credit based on like someone who culturally didn't get enough credit that they might have deserved for some of the things they do. I think Chuck Berry is a great example of it. Uh, there's other examples too, but yeah.
So in your live playing days, it was mainly in Minnesota. For how many years was that? And then you said you were in Nashville at a certain point.
Yeah, I was in Minnesota, pretty much my entire life based here, until, right after college is when I moved to Nashville, and I played around there a bit, and kind of went to the songwriter open mics and stuff. And when I was down there, I think I learned a lot about the music industry and kind of studied, how to book gigs, how to play, colleges, how to play this and that. And um, hunkered down and kind of researched while I was down there so that when I moved back here, I started playing colleges and booking myself at, every brewery and winery and outdoor, festival that would accept me. And just trying to just play as much as possible wherever possible. And that's gotten me out of the state a little more too. Like for instance, in April, I'm going to be playing at a college in South Carolina, so that'll be nice. And I mean, I've played like not last summer, but the summer before. I mean, I was playing in a brewery in Colorado, some wineries down in Kentucky, and different places throughout. And so it's a good way to it's a good excuse to travel and see different places.
Oh yeah, especially our in the age of COVID, has it been kind of difficult to try to get out and book
Yeah.
gigs? And I definitely, you is a certain percentage that you're down now because of COVID, especially in Minneapolis. I'm sure it's tight quarters, and then you have winter, and so I'm sure they don't want to have too many people inside in places.
Yeah, I'd say from last March all the way till like the middle of the summer, everything was kind of pretty much canceled, and now it's accepting of it. You know, it's the safe thing to do. It's tough, obviously, and it's tough for everybody in every profession. But the middle of the summer, there was a couple more outdoor shows that I did, and then I kind of made the decision going into this winter that I wouldn't be doing any indoor shows. So it's kind of gone down to 0% for the winter, but I've got other things that are keeping me busy, and I'm recording and working on a full-length album for the summer. And once things warm up and we all get vaccinated and all that stuff, we'll all be back at it. So
yeah, I really hope it couldn't happen soon enough.
Yeah.
So, are you driving to all these places, flying a little bit?
Mostly driving, but that college in South Carolina, I think it's looking like it's just going to be a one day deal just at that place. So I think it's going to be like a fly in the night before, walk around the town, stay at a hotel, play the next day, and fly back. Which is fine. It's expedient, and it's fun. And I like flying. I think I like driving a little better because you can see more stuff. But planes are cool. I like to have the window seat and watch it take off and land. Where else in the world are you going to sit, however many feet in the air and just like go 600 miles an hour? It's crazy.
It's a long ways from where you're at, so it saves a whole lot of time.
A lot of time. Yeah, a lot of gas station stops.
So when you're flying and going to a place like this college, just you and your guitar, do you have to take a lot of stuff with you?
I've got it down to kind of a science. It's my guitar and basically my backpack, and I'll have whatever clothes I need, and harmonica holder, the harmonicas, some CDs, a tuner, whatever else I need. And it's basically that, the guitar. I usually got some, shoes that I'll wear on stage, and then strap some tennis shoes to the backpack, so I don't need to be wearing whatever shoes I'm wearing the whole entire time. And that's about it. And then you just kind of walk on the plane. Sometimes the flight attendants are nice, and they've got, they're always nice. They're always nice, but sometimes they're extra nice, and they let you put your guitar in their like storage closet that's like just for them on the plane, so that you don't need to worry about your guitar going through baggage claim and all that stuff. Speaking of other guitars, I've thought about investing in like another guitar that's definitely not going to be as expensive as that one, but like a kind of backup that's a nice guitar, but I don't need to worry about it as much traveling. It's on the to-do list.
I do hear about like musicians who've lost guitars on planes. Yeah. They don't get them back, and it's like maybe like years later. I think it was to some. I once interviewed Peter from Peter, Paul, and Mary. I think he lost.
Oh, cool.
I think on Delta, we'll have to say it was Delta. This is not privy information, but I think he came back years later. I don't know how that ever happened.
Wow.
Like, you imagine that?
Yeah, does someone just take the wrong guitar and years later they're like, oh, this isn't mine. I don't even play guitar. How'd this get here?
Maybe they figured it wasn't worth anything. They're like,
yeah.
Back.
Crazy.
So what is your latest single, if you wouldn't mind performing? You could do a snippet of it if you want to do the whole song, just to kind of get it out there.
Yeah, I'm happy to perform it. I got a guitar right here. It's called All My Love.
Okay, and just released as a single. It's not going to be part of an album or an EP. That's kind of the beauty of the internet right now.
Yeah, just released as a single. I released in November, December, and January. I released a single every month on the 12th. I picked the 12th because November 12th is my birthday, and then I just said, okay, we'll do 12 for each of the months. Yeah, just one day, I was going through my phone and found a voice memo of just an idea of a song, from a couple months back, and I kind of sped it up and, obviously added a couple verses and kind of
Very
came
cool.
up with a new song. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, it is called All My Love, latest single.
Yeah.
If you let me be on your mind, I won't take too much space. I'm a sinner when I'm blind, but I still know what it takes. I give all my love away. I give all my love away. Give it all away. Glory comes, glory goes. Feeling high when you're feeling low. For all that trust that you gave me, it's all too easy to let it go. And give all your love away. And give all your love away. Give it all away. Give it all, give it all, give it all, give it all. Give it all away. Give it all, give it all, give it all, give it all. Give it all away. So if you're lonely with your shadow, I know just what to do. Just find all the love you gather and do your time and let it loose. And give all your love away. And give all your love away. Give it all 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 away. Give it all. Give it all. Give it all. Give it all. Give it all away. Give it all away. Give it all away. Oh, give it all away.
Excellent. Very soulful. I really enjoyed that. It's just very, very deep.
Thank you.
You won the Zimmy Award in Hibbing, Minnesota. Where exactly is Hibbing?
Hibbing is here's Minnesota. Here's Minnesota. Minneapolis. Yeah, Minneapolis is here. Duluth is up here. and then hitting is kind of north a little bit. So it's about, if I'm guessing, it's about 3 or so hours north of where I am here in the cities.
Fascinating. I've never been up that way. I would
Yeah.
say the closest I came is maybe Chicago up that way, or I've been to Iowa. I've been up to Minnesota. That's just a total mystery to me. What's the
Yeah.
culture like in the Twin Cities? It's just obviously you had the huge successful stars there. What is it? How is music like this received? That's when you played in cafes and bars and places like that.
It's received well. I think what's cool about Minneapolis, St. Paul is there's it's so diverse culturally. Depending on which area you go to, I mean, there's just so many different pockets of the city with different cultures and different people. Um, I don't want to use a cliche of like a melting pot or anything, but it's cool. So it's a nice, diverse place to live, and a lot of different music. There's a very strong alt rock scene. There's a very strong Americana style scene. There's also a very strong R&B kind of scene. I mean, Lizzo kind of built up her chops in the Twin Cities here. So I think that as a whole, I mean, everybody that lives here is very thankful for our music culture.
Yeah, it's very rich in that. It's like big name up there, Hennepin. I always see that. Like that's
Hennepin, yeah. Yeah, there's First Avenue, which is on First Avenue downtown here. But yeah, that's a big culturally significant music venue, I'd say. Yeah.
yeah. So it must have been a culture shock going down to Nashville. But then again, it's kind of has its own little melting pot. See if people converge on Nashville. It's a big music city too. So you must have found a lot of kindred spirits in that community as well.
Yeah, definitely. And the cool thing about Nashville is, I don't know, as a town, it's kind of very upfront about music being not only an art form, but as being a business and an industry. I think Nashville is way more upfront about that than like other cities. Which is kind of cool. I think they kind of, it's like when you're at it's like a restaurant where you can kind of see the kitchen in the back. It's kind of neat, if you're able to see the food being made. And I think that's a little bit what Nashville provides that other cities don't as much. So a lot to learn in that respect too.
Did a lot of that Nashville sound kind of rub off on you in a way? It seems like it's kind of infused it into your repertoire in a way.
Um, I don't know. I think uh, maybe, I don't know. I think I kind of built a lot of my sound just wherever I happen to be. So yeah, no, not a lot. I mean, I think the sound just came from like the music I listened to. Really, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like in Nashville, it's just got this huge nouveau country sound, and so many artists are really into it. It's kind of probably has to be hard to separate yourself from that and set yourself aside from it. Um, you played the South by Southwest Festival. What was that like?
Yeah, played a festival down there. Yeah, it was cool. It's just a crazy just sea of people just bouncing from one bar to the other, checking out whatever bands are kind of in town. And Yeah, it's pretty neat. There was one band, I forgot the name, but like it was after I was done playing and we were just kind of all walking around, and it was a very small stage, and saw this act playing and was listening, and it was awesome. And then like a couple years later, I just heard it like somewhere, maybe it was a grocery store, or like maybe it was in a soundtrack of a movie. I don't know, but it was like, oh, I saw that person on a tiny stage when it was just them and their guitar. So it's kind of cool, all the things that come out of that cataclysm of a festival.
Yeah, what a shame it's not been going on. I just hope one day they can bring that back. That's just
Yeah.
really so sad when I saw that they couldn't hold it last year. And I was like, oh gosh, that's what a treat. I mean, I'm sure that had to be amazing to be a part of that.
Yeah, I bet. I remember someone telling me when they first heard the news, South by Southwest canceled, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And now looking back on it, it's like, oh yeah, of course they canceled. It's a huge gathering of people. But it's like, I think humans, we've got this way of accepting conditions and getting used to them. Like this was all just a complete shock a year ago, and now we're all like, oh yeah, I gotta wear a mask when you walk into the store, and you gotta do this, and oh yeah, of course that big thing's canceled. It's like we adapt so quickly.
That's really true. In less than a year, it's like, yeah, oh my God, I forgot the mask. Or yeah, now I
Yeah.
dream I lost my mask. I just walked into a place of, oh my God, my mask isn't on.
Right.
It's amazing how yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I'll even be watching a show and like see, like a show that's filmed 10 years ago and people aren't wearing masks. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, you got to put that thing on. It's like, oh yeah, there was a pandemic when Arrested Development was filmed,
Right. And now you're starting to see some shows being done with that. Let's hope that becomes very dated, and like, let's hopefully in less than a year we look at that and say, oh, that's when we had to wear masks.
Right.
I hope this ends soon, but it's going to take a while for it to really tamp down and to get the message. It's tragic in so many other ways too.
Oh, for sure.
Has any of that inspired you in your writing, or are you basically just on another plane, just basically being in lockdown and just writing?
Yeah. I haven't really written any plague songs,
I talked with an artist, and he could write really fast. He could put out a bunch of songs at once. He just went to his cabin and just like, I don't know, got like 20 some songs out of it, just isolated in a cabin. So it's sign of the times, definitely.
Yeah.
So did you have another single that you'd like to play?
Yeah, sure. This one was the December 12th single. It's a song called Sally.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sally, don't you weep. Sally, don't you keep me in your mind. Won't you tell me what you find? And if you won't, well then you won't. Sally, go. Sally, don't you go. Sally, no. Sally, don't you know that I'm your friend? Don't you know that we can mend? And if you don't, well then you won't. No, that don't come easy. Lessons learned. Sally, Sally, don't you weep. Sally won't you keep me in your mind? You could tell me what you find, but I know you won't. So Sally, Sally, don't you weep. Sally, don't keep me on your mind. You won't tell me what you find. So Sally,
Fantastic. Wow. What was the inspiration for that? Or is it just kind of came out of the air?
Yeah, it just kind of came out of that bucket analogy. I feel like I need a new analogy. If your analogy is a bucket, I'll think of something new. But yeah, it kind of came out of, different things. I suppose everybody's got their version of a Sally or whatever out there. So
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Single. Very, very well done. I really, really enjoyed this. So where can we find all your music?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. If you look up Luke LeBlanc Music, Instagram, my handle is, again, Luke LeBlanc Music. And I'm on Spotify. All those songs that we talked about and that I, played, they're all on Spotify. Just look up Luke LeBlanc. And I even have a Twitter. I kind of got into Twitter recently. My handle is, not It Looks Like Rain, but It Lukes Like Rain.
Nice.
Might have to change it. I think it's kind of clever, but I don't know. Things I think are clever aren't always that clever. So, and then my website is lukeleblanc.com. So,
you have a lot of downloading these days, but do you have physical CDs you could send out if people request?
Oh yeah, I do. I kind of do it in an old school way. If you go to lukeleblanc.com, I've got a contact page, and people can just get a hold of me there and say, "Hey, I'd like to buy a physical CD," and then I send out a physical CD, and there's PayPal and Venmo and all that stuff. So yes, physical CDs, I've definitely got those too.
No vinyl pressings yet, so that now it's become rare. And
yeah, not yet, but I'm currently working on a full-length record that's going to come out this summer, and vinyl printing is something I've definitely got on my list of things to check out, because there are people who really love and appreciate vinyl, and I'd like to be able to provide that too.
Yeah, nothing like having that. I missed that as a kid, just looking at the vinyl, and even those albums with the gatefold. I think some Dylan albums were like that, and your Highway 61 Revisited or something like that. It's just really nice to look at the lyrics and all the photography, which is a really nice thing to have.
Yeah, we've kind of lost that thing where, even with CDs, you put the CD in, but then you can sit there and look at the credits and the photography and the artwork, and now we just play it on our phone and then scroll through all the crap on our social media feeds. And I gotta look up vinyls. I gotta figure out how to get those printed. You've inspired me, Robert.
How about and you're on YouTube as well? Do you have your own YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, of course. I am on YouTube as well. It should be also under Luke LeBlanc Music. I try to keep the handles consistent. So yep, on YouTube as well. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Twitter, all the things. Not TikTok yet. I don't know. I feel like I'd get too addicted to TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's one thing I haven't joined. I've been on a lot of these platforms over the years, but TikTok I haven't really even touched yet.
Yeah.
So, have you done concept videos, or basically those are performance videos that you have out there?
I'm good for the full length. There will be a music video, or two, for that. I haven't released it yet. But there's a variety of videos. There's videos of me performing live. There's a kind of cool one that I did at a house concert, and these brothers, that one does video work, the other does audio. So it was kind of cool. They had the audio and the video all set up, and they sent me a video, and so that's cool. That's on there. Yeah, there's videos of me like in the just in the apartment playing songs. There's all sorts of stuff. There's something for everybody.
I think the transfer for a lot of artists, they can, when you're a musician, they can also become actors. So that's some hate it, but some like make the transfer very well.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I haven't really tried acting since sixth grade, when I was the extra in Godspell. So yeah, I can't say how that'll go.
Yeah. Well, best wishes to you, and hopefully we'll hear from you, and we'll see some good singles come out, and then the LP will be out this summer. So
yeah, well, it's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate you having me, and it was nice to meet you as well. And one of these days we'll have to do another one in person.
That would be wonderful. I'm in Atlanta. I'm doing the videography because I do that by trade, and I do video editing. So yeah, I really enjoy that. Well, we'll definitely have to do that. I hope that maybe one day you can come down here to the Atlanta area. We have a great club called Eddie's Attic, which is
okay.
Great venue. I've interviewed artists over there. And
awesome.
Hopefully you can come in and be on a tour, and see you down here in the ATL.
Sounds good to me.
Take care. We'll be in touch.
Yep, you too. Thanks, Robert.